I guess the easiest thing to ask is 10 Mortal Kombats, and yet Sub-Zero, Scorpion, they look different in every game.
Yeah.
How can you guys find so many variations on a dude wearing a blue sash?
When you have a lot of time to think about it, a lot of ideas come into your head. And ironically, you were to say that, how do you find so many variations? This version of the Mortal Kombat, there's 3 variations of every character. Wow. So that's kind of like, one of the cool new things about the game.
How do you keep Mortal Kombat so pure after making so many of them?
Well, the thing that we really try to do, we try to consciously add something to the game that's never been done before. So, at the heart of the game, you're right, is 2 people beating the crap out of each other. Mm-hmm. But then, on top of that is, game features, and, the new one now being the variations of the characters and the, the kind of leveraging that you could do off the background, to, position yourself better. That layered on top of what, really worked well with Mortal Kombat 9. 2011's Mortal Kombat, that kind of meter system is really what kind of sets this game apart. It's
more than just aesthetic, right? Like, it actually changes the mechanics of the character?
Yes, exactly. So there's 3 versions of Sub-Zero. One of them, he generates these ice weapons, during combat. Another one, he can create this ice shield that's more of a defensive kind of strategy. Another one, this ice clone that he can, kind of throw at the opponent or kind of hide behind, and projectiles get. So it's really 3 different ways to play, Sub-Zero, each variation having their own unique moves. It really mixes things up more than like any other feature we've added.
Do you think that in the competitive scene, people will eventually, maybe even in their own little circles, decide that this is the best variation and always use that? Or is it more of this variation of this character is a counter pick for this other type of character?
I think it's the latter. If we do our jobs right, one variation won't be, overly advantageous over the others. But we do feel that, fighting games are all about, characters and, matchups, and what is the, what's a good matchup for, Raiden or whoever. And but in this game, it's going to be, Sub-Zero A is a good matchup for Scorpion C, which is a good matchup for, Raiden or somebody B. And with all those variables, it really is going to make it that much more of a mix-up.
This may be getting into the nitty-gritty, but is there going to be a blind pick option for the variants? Because I can see, like, one guy locks in his variant, the other guy backs out real quick, tries to counter pick.
You know what? We didn't think about that until you mentioned it. So that's. If that becomes a problem, that'll certainly be something that we're going to consider adding, or like a a random variant pick or something like that could be a cool one.
That'd be pretty cool. So in terms of modes and stuff, you guys are always really experimental and largely very successful on adding crazy new game modes to fighting games that people haven't thought about. Your Conquest mode, the Challenge Tower, RPG stuff, kart racing, puzzle games like this. Yeah. It's gone all over the map. So can we look forward to any crazy surprises with Mortal Kombat X?
Well, like I said, every Mortal Kombat game, we want to introduce something that hasn't been done before, and this game won't be an exception. I can tell you that we are going to be adding I can't tell you all the details now, but it is a persistent online game mode that everybody is going to participate in.
Nice.
And so we really want to kind of get that whole community thing where everybody's participating, checking the status of things and whatnot. So we'll be kind of revealing details in the coming months, but that's one of the things we're also very excited about.
Okay. This is just a curiosity for me. It may have been answered somewhere else, but I've been in my own little bubble here. In the announcement, it said it's running on a new engine, so this isn't Unreal anymore?
We've modified our Unreal engine so much over the years that it's pretty much, kind of become our own baby now. But we really wanted to make sure that we were able to get 1080p with 60 frames a second, all self-shadowing effects, depth of field, all these kind of graphic qualities that we could maintain our 60 frames a second frame rate. And so it's kind of like this hybrid engine that's pretty proprietary at this point.
Okay, yeah. Kind of like the old Quake days. People would make it their own after a couple of years, and it just became a new thing.
Yeah, at some point you add enough ingredients to a recipe, and it's a recipe for something else.
That makes sense. In terms of story, Mortal Kombat oddly has become one of the more story-dense fighting games in existence. Is X going to continue on from the 9 kind of retelling of 1 through 3?
Yes. It's MKX. Actually, what's cool about it is it's set in various different times from the whole Mortal Kombat timeline. One of which is 25 years in the future. One is 5 years in the future. One is 10 years in the future. So we're jumping kind of back and forth in time. as we're telling the story. So it's not as much of a linear progression story.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Cassie Cage, wife?
No, Cassie Cage is the daughter of Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade.
Oh.
So you know, you're gonna get the details of that and see how.
Oh, and that factors into the time travel thing, right?
Exactly.
Ah,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I like it. So we just saw a fatality where Cassie plugged a skull hole with gum that blew a blood bubble.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty gross.
Yeah, I mean, in the development of these games, has there been anything that's just too gnarly? Like you just step back from like, that crosses the line.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
You know, we have our famous fatality meetings where everybody kind of comes to the table with either sketches or is ready to act something out, or you know, has a reference that, you know, image that they want people to see, and they basically pitch the idea, and you know, the ones that everybody kind of respond to are usually the ones that we do, but occasionally there'll be one that's we're just kind of like, no, we're not going to cross that line, and so those are always fun.
So in terms of mechanics, it looks like the core is still there. You got your kind of dial-a combo, you got your same juggle mechanics. Is there anything that's been really changed, or is it the same heart of Mortal Kombat 9 with some extra spice on top?
Yeah, Mortal Kombat 9 was kind of like the foundation of where we started. You know, one thing that players really responded to was our whole meter system that let players, you know, enhance a special move, you know, block get a breaker move, which kind of ends a combo automatically, lets you reset, and then also perform these great X-ray moves, which are kind of like the big visceral slow down in time moments. So we were happy with that, but at the same time, we really wanted to layer on top of that, and that's where the three variations of the characters came into play, and then on top of that, we added the leveraging off the environments to, you know, position yourself or escape out of a corner or whatnot. So we feel like that kind of triple layer of features is really gonna like make this game's, you know, the palette of features for the player to use in their gameplay is going to be as deep as any Mortal Kombat game we've made.
Cool. So on kind of a metaphysical level, existential level, Mortal Kombat, it's become such a mainstay. I feel like people don't realize that it is one of gaming's longest running and most successful franchises.
Yeah.
And hell, it basically led to the ESRB. It changed the landscape of gaming.
Yeah.
Does it ever strike you as kind of strange that basically you've been helming that ship for the whole time, and do you feel intimidated kind of being steward of this property, this legacy?
Mortal Kombat fans are like a really insanely faithful group of people. You know, we just, you know, over 20 years after the fact, we released a trailer for a game, and you'd think after 20 years that, you know, things would have died down, and you know, we got like 8 million views in, you know, like a few days, literally 8 million views in a few days. The last version of the game, Mortal Kombat 9, was the best selling of all of them. Who would think 20 years after the fact the best selling one is, you know, is the latest one? So we're just trying to satisfy these really rabid fans that are just so faithful to us, and then so that's what drives us.
When can we expect to play Mortal Kombat 10?
Well, unfortunately, the only detail I can give you is that it's going to be in 2015.
All right, well, Ed, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate the work.
Appreciate it.
Please never stop.
Thanks.
Those were not bots, those were humans.
Okay.
Humans. Organic humans.
Aha,
Yeah,
yes.
32 of them.
All right, so then
That's 16 on side.
right, perfect. In terms of evolution,
Yes.
and the maps,
Yeah.
obviously we saw the crane come down.
Yes, we did.
But can you give us hints as to other evolution throughout other maps?
Oh, now we're trying to get sneaky.
I'm
We're
not
trying
get
to
sneaky, I'm
dig
just asking
into other
questions.
maps.
No Battlefield. I'm
Bruce,
just trying to ask.
Brucey,
No, it's
come
no big
on.
deal.
We're not talking about other maps,
Oh, come
Bruce.
on.